and August are really going to fly um, as we enjoy ourselves. So welcome to Zita's Healthy Beginnings World of Women podcast. I am so grateful for all of you that make the effort every week to join us in this podcast. And always, this podcast is brought to you by the Word of Ability podcast in collaboration with Transform You Network and PAC. And we're grateful for the opportunity they give to us every week on this platform to reach out to you guys and to share our thoughts and our wishes and also our conversations with you, with our presenters and everything and our audience that really participate live on this podcast. So as I was saying, that this May just flew by. Today is just the last day, the 31st. And when you look back from May 1st till today, a lot has really happened in our world. One of the things that really has struck me this whole month is that the ongoing war we hear about in Ukraine and Russia, the ongoing and the increased inflation that every one of us is really grappling with, and it's actually global right now. And the shootings that has really escalated again in our midst. All of these challenges honestly have impacted all of us one way or the other. And again, the COVID has not even left us yet. So that has compounded our problems. And but one thing is clear that I know is in all of this situation, God is with us. God has always seen us through and will continue to see us through and support us to go through these whole challenges. We are also happy that right now, even though we're going through all of these challenges, there are also those of us who are still healthy and happy and at peace with what is going on. And I am actually, before I start the topic I was going to talk to us today, share with us this evening, I want us to just take a moment and remember all the victims of the shootings in the United States from east to west to north to south. It has really been very sad, to say the least. So let's just take a moment and recall all the souls of the people that have just passed. And we had a Memorial Day yesterday as well. I am also calling all of us to also keep that in mind as we experience this moment of silence. And thanks everybody for doing that. And so today, one of the things I wanted us to talk about, and I'm gonna try to make this as usual, talk about it and encourage us to weigh in on it. Let's share our thoughts and see how we can move forward. And one of the things that I have on my list here to talk about is the problem that we've been facing, and that is pretty much families that are raising young people, young kids, starting with breast milk substitute, which people call formula today. We all know that ever since the world started, human beings have looked for food to sustain them, to provide them energy, to provide them with nourishment and life. And all of this food, we know that they're just natural. They come from nature. And part of it is the breast milk. Every animal has breastfed their babies after birth. And we as humans are expected by nature to breastfeed our babies. It is a given, it is a natural thing. What is going on today in our world is there are situations where a mother after birth is not in the position to do that. And that is understandable. So to actually sustain the baby and actually help the mom to heal, the medical providers will go to the other substitute, breast milk substitute. And that is what we call like the infant formula. They want to use that to sustain the baby's life. Another situation is also when the baby is not in the position to actually suck from the mother's breast directly. So and then the mother is not able to meet it up with like pumping. And what you see is where a woman then resorts to getting the breast milk substitute. And I know that that has been the practice, especially in the developed world. In the developing countries, from my experience and from what I have seen, is when that happens, there are ways that people culturally and traditionally handle that. Because one is that culturally, some people do not believe that you can feed your baby anything other than the mother's milk or any breast milk. So some cultures will really look for women who are in the position, who have babies, who are breastfeeding already. And they do that, collaborate with them, see how they can really help to raise another child that the mom is either passed away during childbirth or is not in the condition to breastfeed baby. And when people do that, like I said, it's based on their culture, their belief, and it works for them. Now, I want us to look at what are the benefits of breast milk. And like I said, breast milk is the only food a baby is being fed. And every single baby should be breastfed. Even the World Health Organization recommends that. The UNICEF affirms it and says that yes, every baby that is born must or should be breastfed unless there is this condition that I've just explained. Now, why do we even insist that women breastfeed their babies? Let's look at the benefits of breastfeeding, which has a lot for the mom as well as the baby. So it's a win-win situation. And now we can also look at it beyond that even. We can see how that will even enrich the family, the community, and even our global community. So let's look at the baby. When a baby is born, their body temperature right away is not normal. So you want to normalize it. Now, one of the benefits of breastfeeding is that it helps the babies. Hi, Hannah. It helps the baby to control the temperature, regulate the temperature of the baby so that the baby is not too cold or too warm. And baby feels comfortable, feels the love of the mom, the bonding and everything. And we're trying to do that as soon as the baby is born, just to make sure that this whole body temperature does not linger and cause other stuff health issues for the baby. The other thing it does is that you put the baby to breast right away. You're not dealing with any utensils. You're not dealing with the pots and whatever. You're not asking anybody to give me this, to measure that. The breast milk has the right temperature. It has the right content of the liquid, the water content, the vitamins and the minerals. Everything is in the right quantity. So you don't even have to worry about it. And the very first 2 to 4 days of this milk is colostrum, what we call colostrum, which is not really, there's no water in it, it's just oil and all that wonderful, beautiful nutrient that really helps the baby in those first few days of birth to really get what they need, be able to pass the first stools and be able to continue to grow the right way. And I know it's not the culture in all states or even in all countries, but this is the benefit for the baby. The other thing is a baby that really feeds up the breast milk only up until 6 months has a lot of resistance to infection. You don't hear of ear infections, you don't hear of respiratory problems, asthmas, and stuff like that. Those are all the benefits that putting your baby to breast for that long before you start adding other food, that's the benefits that that cuts your baby. So the IQ, let's talk about the intelligent quotient. Babies that were breastfed really have higher IQ. Research has really confirmed that babies who have breast milk for at least 6 months and beyond really have very high IQs. That has been, that has been in the studies and the research and everything. So, and we are talking about the bonding for mom and baby. We're talking about all these benefits. Now, what benefit does a mom get? A lot. Some of the benefits a mom gets is really, it helps her. When women get pregnant, there's an extra weight they gain, and that's a normal thing. So that they're using it to really nurture the baby, support themselves and stuff. But then after the baby is born, those fats don't get away. They don't just melt away. They don't. Ask moms, they'll tell you. It actually lingers. So what helps women to really manage that is through breastfeeding. The more you breastfeed, the less of those fats, they keep melting away. Another benefit is for the mother. When the woman is pregnant, her womb grows bigger, expanding to, of course, accommodate the baby. So what happens after the baby is born, that uterus is not going to collapse immediately. It is still big. And what happens is that's why when you say a pregnant woman who just gave birth, you're like, did she really deliver? Her tummy is still huge. Yeah, that's because the womb is still, trying to get back to its normal shape. But in that instant, yes, it is big. So as the mom breastfeeds, that's increasing the contraction of the uterus. And the more it contracts, the more it goes back. We call it involution. The more it contracts, the more it goes back. And what increases the contraction is the way that the baby is sucking. The more the baby is breastfeeding, or the more the mom is pumping the breast milk, that is what is causing the contraction of the uterus. And then it gets smaller. So the woman does not really carry this big tummy around for too long. Before you know it, it has gone back to its normal position. So that's a benefit. Another benefit As we have heard about all the ovarian cancer and breast cancers and stuff like that, for women who have babies, they have benefit. Breastfeeding your baby reduces the incidence of breast cancer and ovarian cancer in women. It's been proven. So all those benefits, as well as the diabetes. Some women, when they get pregnant, like I said, they get bigger, and some of the hormones are really put out of place. Their insulin, some of them does not really act like they should. And that leads to some of them develop diabetes in pregnancy. So if one is breastfeeding after pregnancy, that really helps to bring your blood sugar to normal. It is beneficial for the baby as well, because every baby that is being breastfed do not really have that problem of obesity. The problem we are having today with our young people with a whole lot of weight gain, most of the reasons is because they were not breastfed. And it has been proven that that is the situation, and they struggle with all kinds of other conditions that comes with diabetes. So today, I want us to really look into some of these benefits of breastfeeding and breast milk for the baby and for the mom. See how we can really support our women, encourage them to practice breastfeeding after they give birth. Now it takes a village to really accomplish this. Women really juggle a lot, including taking care of the baby. So when a woman gets pregnant, she's still doing all the normal routine work she's supposed to do, but she's also doing that added work of carrying the baby. Women need support during pregnancy. They need that planning of the partner, of the family, of the extended family, of the state, of the country, to really prepare her to receive this baby and to support her as she goes through postpartum period. There's a lot that going on these days with mental health that we've identified in our mothers. Some of the mental health started as far back as the time they were really not pregnant. And then pregnancy escalates all of this whole situation. So you find the mom not even in the situation to breastfeed her baby. And then what happens? We resort to looking for breast milk substitute. Breast milk substitute is a substitute. It is not the real food. And WHO and UNICEF recommends that all the organizations that are, all the companies that are really promoting or dealing with breast milk substitutes must declare and state that breast milk is best. But in any situation where mom's situation or baby's condition does not permit immediate breastfeeding, you can take this option. But the right food for any baby is breast milk. Breast is best. The United States has not done a great job when it comes to supporting our mothers, supporting families, supporting our country, supporting women in general to even observe the time off they need, the maternity leave they need. So sometimes we blame mothers for not doing what they should do, and we forget our own responsibilities, our own contributions towards them achieving that goal. Like I said, that is not an individual responsibility. It is a communal responsibility. We all must support our young women who are bringing new life to the world. It is not easy with the type of climate we all live in at this moment. And I need everybody to please listen and hear me out, that women are really going through a lot of challenges. And we must, it is our responsibility to support them however we can. And I know we can do it. We all can collectively do this. So looking at it, and we're looking at the, like I mentioned, all the shooting going on. When you come down to it, some of this, the victims as well, not the victims, sorry, the culprits, when you look at it, some of them did not have the upbringing that they needed. You see that the mom was not available, or mom had her own problems, or dad was not there, or family did not really show up with the support that is needed. It's a lot of work. And we should not treat family life and raising kids like drive-through. It is not McDonald's drive-through. And it breaks my heart that our world are trying to treat everything like wait and take. No, that is not how it should be. Because what is going on is, if we do all of this like we're doing a drive-through, this is what we will face. We'll face people who are not really in the right mindset because nobody taught them how, or who had problems in the process of growing up and nobody paid attention. And what do you see is all of this sad situation we are facing today. So the question is, what is our role? How are we going to correct this? Because it's not enough to really put them in jail. That is not even the solution. Let's go back to the root of the root cause of this condition. And what I'm saying is, how have the mothers been protected, being encouraged, being empowered to do their job as mothers? 70% of families in the United States are being headed by single moms. Not only that these single women are struggling to raise families, they are also looking for jobs. They are also looking to make both ends meet. That's a lot of work for one little woman. You don't really expect them to really move mountains with little, but it is our responsibility to support them. But our care providers get so busy that we don't even listen to this woman who is telling you what the problem is. Some of us are too busy and overwhelmed with services that we ignore important symptoms and signs when they show up, be it at the hospital, be it in the school, be it in anywhere. We don't even pay attention to the critical signs and even symptoms that people present. And until something catastrophic happens, that's the only time we draw attention. And then it draws our attention briefly, and then we're back to our old ways. So today I am really asking and pleading with all of us to please do share this message, talk to our families and friends, connect with our young people wherever they are, however we can connect with them, trying to find out what is going on in the life of women today. There's a lot going on. How can we be of support to them? How can we really encourage them to be who they are and still respect their dignity and allow them to raise families? A lot of grandmas are still working in our system today because they want to survive as well. So they don't even have enough time to take care of the grandkids, because most of the grandkids now are being pushed to grandmas or a few grandfathers who are not even in the position to really raise these kids the way they should in the 21st century. So these are the few concerns that I have. And I'm really asking us So I'm opening it up now to this open conversation. Please add to this conversation however you see fit. Let us jointly address this issue that is staring us on the face. We don't even know what to do anymore. But I know that collectively, we all can bring bright ideas that could help all of us to raise our young people, to help women breastfeed their babies, which is the fundamental. Give them the love that they need from day one, so they understand that they are being loved, that they are being cared for, that life is really for living, that the world is a lovely, better place to be. So they grow up with that whole love and be able to pass it on, because you don't give what you don't have. And I think that is part of our challenge today. So thank you all. Please unmute and ask questions or make comments. Yeah, yes, Hannah.
Yeah, we need better mental health in this country. We don't have enough mental health. Mental health for years has been like a stigma, and it's so necessary. It's so necessary for our young children growing up now. I mean, I was a teacher back in 1967. I was a business teacher, then I went to special ed. I mean, it's totally different today. The internet has not been good for our children. Has not been good. I mean, I see even with my own grandchildren, it just bothers me. But we need to give more love. You know, Zita, your presentation is absolutely wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. Breastfeeding is love.
Yes.
It's total love. And that is what, there's so much in this. I've never seen this. I've just never seen this. And of course, I mean, I don't want to get into it, but we need better gun laws. I mean, that's another whole topic, but I absolutely feel we have to have better laws.
Yes, I agree with you.
I mean, how did these 18-year-olds get a hold of army guns? I mean, these are army guns. They have, they have where they can go, keep going and going and going and going and going. I mean, how could someone sell a gun like that? I don't know. I mean, it's all about money today. It's just, but we need, it's love, it's mental health. We don't have enough of that in our schools. And yes, women today are very overburdened. They're single, and then grandparents are raising children, and it just breaks my heart. I mean, with the shootings, I mean, I'm crying all the time.
Yeah.
So that's how, Zita, your presentation touched my heart. Thank you, Zita.
Thank you so much, Hannah, for your contribution. And you are absolutely right when you said mental health in this country is not really receiving the attention that it needed. And this is what we deal with. When staff are really left unattended, you find out that harms happen on a daily basis. And like you rightly said, how did a child, I'm still 18 years for me, still under that category. of a child. How did really they get hold of the gun? But when I look at what is going on the internet, like you pointed out, Hannah, there's a lot of stuff going on, including training. And I don't know who on earth thinks about putting some of the games that are very harmful, that are really catastrophic. They are really putting them there for kids to watch and then learn. And some of them actually get a hold of those guns via internet. And they don't care. They just sell because people want to make money. It's all about money. But after all is said and done, what are we going to do with money when our society is collapsing right in front of us? What are we going to do with money? Are we going to really enjoy that money? When we live in fear every single day of where is the next shooting going to happen? You cannot even go into any place, be it in a supermarket, or be it in a church, or be it in a holiday resort places. There's no safe place anymore. So my question is, what are we doing with all this money when we cannot even enjoy it? Our universe is crying out for us to really pay attention, and we are not. When are we going to listen and do something? It's my question. So honestly, your points are really well taken, Hannah, and I think the only way we can really impact our world is to just continue to engage this conversation, engage people, engage adults, and take it one step ahead. Engage those in the law enforcement and policy makers. That they listen, we live in the same world where lives are being destroyed every single day. What kind of law do we have? What kind of policy do we need to put in place to protect the innocent ones, to protect everybody, including these shooters? They are crying out for help. That is their own way of seeking for attention. How are we going to help them? How do we support them? How do we say to them, we are hearing you? We know you're struggling, you're suffering, and that's why you're manifesting it in this way. Nobody in their right mind will really behave like this. We get you. We understand what is going on in your life. We want to look at your family. We want to support your family. We want to support your parents. We want to make sure that every single woman gets the right nurturing. Every single young man gets the right mentoring, so that we can build a safe society. Thank you so much, Hannah. Anyone else has something to add to this conversation? Please unmute.
Hello. This is Bridget.
Yes.
This is Bridget.
Yes, Sister Bridget.
Yeah, I would like to talk a little bit that everything comes from something. I don't want to sort of blame our young people. I would like to look at us in the adult world. What are we doing to teach our children? Hannah mentioned she was a teacher for both normal and the other side in special education that I'm blessed to be in myself. And sometimes when I sit back, I've quite traveled in most different countries, spent a lot of years in Poland. And what I learned going into the villages in Poland, even in Africa, I come from Southern Africa, is that modernity has its good and it has bad things. Anything that the young people look at, modernity, everything, as somebody said already, the computers, everything that is new, the games is so inspiring. And when I was with one of those kids in one of those countries who said to me, "You are so traditional. You believe in breastfeeding. You believe in like teaching the young people. We don't want you to be taught. The internet is there now to teach us stuff. We know so much stuff. Yeah, internet can teach you stuff. Internet can teach you even relationships now are not even working. Marriages are breaking. Something is lacking. What is lacking is the adult world. We need to revisit the values that were instilled by our parents in the past. Not everything new is better. Actually, the whole world, traveling in different countries myself, the whole world looks up to America. So when you talk about certain things that happen here, a lot of people are taking those values because it's like that's why we have the whole problem with immigration, because everybody's running to the US because that's where new life is. That's where everything comes. And I know, I work with a lot of children from Central America, and a lot of them are like, there's nothing at home, it's so boring. Here you have these games, you have this, and obedience to the parents, all that doesn't matter. There is, in some families, not all, teaching the children manners at home, etiquette manners at table, behavior. And then it comes to the idea of relationships. We have teen mothers who are not even ready to have children. How can a teen mother who was not trained would come and learn how to breastfeed if there's no one who is going to teach them? This child goes, and I've been working with teen mothers in Baltimore. I worked with a lot of teen mothers in Philadelphia. And the teen mothers are just like, you put them together, start teaching. It's like, what do I teach you? I'm a nun. Can I call somebody who is a grandmother to come and teach you manners of how to take care of yourself, even at the age of puberty for a boy or a girl? How do you take care of yourself so that we prevent some of these things that will come after? Even, I'm sorry to use the word, we started in schools teaching sex education. Some of it sometimes is given so early that when you teach children, it's like, oh, I want to try it. You know, they want to learn, but there's other ways of teaching the children, things that we have sort of, you know, like left aside, and the teen mother becomes a grandmother. You can imagine, what is she going to give? Because she also doesn't have it. She's empty. As I said before, I worked with this child in one of the countries, and who said to me, say, can you breastfeed a child? You know what? I don't even have time for that. You know, the baby is just, I got the baby. I have no time. I need to go and work. We need money. I'm not going to sit here. This is a country of work. If I sit and take care of this baby and feed the baby, what happens? So someone, I managed to get to someone who said, you know, you can pump the milk, put in bottles, and warm them for the child than giving them all these artificial things. So in all, I would want to say that I would like children to be initiated, to be educated. Before they reach the age of 12, they are already having, you know, when they become teenagers, all these changes that happens. When you were a teacher, I think, Hannah, you know, when we are teachers, we learn education psychology. From that time, they start learning. All development is so confusing. What is happening? The idea is to want to test and see and see. And then we have all these problems that have come. How do we deal with them? My answer is to go back. There is nothing bad. We need to have one leg in traditional, another leg in modernity. We can't do away with all traditional and keep to modernity. We are lost. Our children are lost. They are confused. We can't blame them. I have a mother who was a teen mother who never got anything. What will that mother give me? Nothing. Because that mother only knows modernity, doesn't know the other, you know, the other part of life. So that's where I would contribute. But at the same time, I would like to say, yes, that topic was really, really good, and it's touching for me because I'm a traditionalist as well as somebody who lives in modernity. I take the best here and the best there and put the concoction together, brings out the best. Thank you for allowing me to speak.
Thank you so much, Sister Bridget. That was powerful. You really nailed it too, that marriages are breaking, and we all know it. We really think about revisiting the adults. Let's just think back, because it's very easy to say, oh, our hearts go out for you. This part of United States, our hearts go out for you. Let our conscience go out too. Let us ask ourselves, what are we not doing right? There are things that we're not doing that we need to do, and there are things that we're doing that we need to stop doing. And you nailed it by also saying some of the things that education that we provide to young people, they're too premature. And some of the important things are being left out. What it boils down to, what values are we really giving? What values, what kind of lifestyle? When I look at some adults, I really shudder. I'm like, I don't know what they're giving to their kids. Honestly, I don't know the kind of training they're giving to the kids, because themselves are behaving like one. So it's like, oh my goodness, where are we headed? Yes, the United States is the prime of the world. Everybody looks up to the United States. Question is, what kind of example are we showing? Are we giving? And that's why really it bothers me that we are not really measuring up like we should. And what should we do? One of the reasons what we should do is what we're doing right here, talking about it, taking it to the next level of talking, sharing with other people, and engaging people in power and authority to look at what is going on. Tell them how concerned we are, how heartbroken we are, watching what is going on in our country. And for how long are we going to just stand, fold our arms, and just watch? We don't have time in our hands anymore. We need to act, and just act right now. So thank you so much. Manners and etiquette, for sure, are fundamental to raising any kid. But when you don't have it yourself, you're not going to be able to give it to your kid, or any kid at all. So anyone else, please make your comment. I think Doretta, you had wanted to say something.
Yes, I was just going to say that Zita, you, Bridget, and Hannah all had great things that you've said. But one thing that I wanted to add is, you're right about teaching the moms, and you're right about grandmothers doing the things that mothers aren't doing. But actually, as you know, Zita, we worked in the program Nurse Family Partnership. I actually found that it wasn't even grandma that was teaching, it was great grandma, because grandmas were 25 or 22, you know, they were very young. And the breastfeeding thing was so hard to get across to the moms for many of the reasons, like you all said. They felt that it was strange, or they had to get to work, and then they didn't feel that they had time for things like that.
Are you applying on your phone?
Can you hear me?
Don't you have a
Yes.
computer?
Please, can you mute yourself, Hanifa? I think we're hearing.
Yeah, I'm hearing other things.
Yeah. Okay.
But and another big thing, even in working with that program, is you were speaking earlier, and I always remember them talking of postpartum depression, but many of the young women had depression prior to postpartum depression. And I said, well, is it postpartum depression, or is it depression because she had depression prior to? And a lot of people did not address the mental health piece, because people never want to look at it as it is an actual health problem. Just like if you broke your arm or if you needed medication for something else, you need to have that medication or counseling or whatever is needed. But a lot of the things that you all said, I just really went back to the program because we were faced with so many of those things that you talk about. And right now, with the state of how things are in the world, everyone's saying what's wrong with these children, they're crazy. And I agree with, I can't think of her name that just spoke before me. We can't blame the children because you can't want a child to be fixed when they're 17 or 18. That has to start very early in their lives. They have to have the attention. They have to be able to be taught respect, dignity, and respect, and the things that need to be done in those formative years instead of saying what's wrong with them now, you know? And yes, we do have to work and we have to take care of our homes or the things that we have, but the value of that child's life and what happens with that child when they're just left out on their own and they're looking for love and they're looking for family and they get into gangs because at least there's something where they're connected. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And it's the wrong things. So if you take the time to do the right thing and you do it early enough, and this breastfeeding, which we were trying to get many of the young women to do, we did have some success, but a lot of them thought it was strange or they didn't want to do it. But at one point, just as the other young lady was saying, we did say, if you're not going to do it at all, at least pump the milk and be able to feed the baby that way, because the baby's getting the nutrition. You don't have to worry about getting up to warm a bottle. We would tell them all kind of things, trying to convince them in doing it, having lactation consultants come in and having them meet with other young mothers their age that were doing it, which would also encourage them to do it. But a lot of what's happening now is because of what didn't happen whenever it was supposed to happen. And that is in those formative years before they get to an age where they're out of control and nobody's telling them any of the things that needed to be taught long ago.
Absolutely.
So that's just what I wanted to add, because you guys really took care of a whole lot of everything.
Thank you so much, Doretta. Thank you. You and I really we've seen it all in the maternal and child health arena and in the medical arena as well. And yes, we agree that a lot has really gone wrong. And we don't blame the young ones. Like I said, they're still developing. The brain is still all over the place. Like Sister Bridget said, they're still figuring things out in their head. Whatever they catch, they want to deal with it. They want to hold on to it. And guess what is the wrong things that they usually get, acclimated to, because there's no adult around to say, listen, this thing you're doing, this is going to be the repercussion down the road. Nobody has the time to spend with them, give them the real deal, the real love that they need, spending time with them. I see families, they can text all day, all night with their kids, but they cannot sit down for 1 minute to say, how did your day go? How was school? What did the teacher teach? Do you have any homework? What kind of food do you like? What did you guys eat in school today? So some of us are so busy. The child is coming back from school. They're heading for work. They're coming back from work. The child is heading to school. They don't cross at all. This is really something we need to pay attention to and do something about, because it's getting out of control. And I'm afraid if we don't do anything right now, we have ourselves to blame. Zita's Healthy Beginnings is here for everyone wanting to know more about how we can really raise our kids, support our moms. That's what we do. That's what we're still doing. So please reach out to us. Our information is on the chart. Please reach out to us in any way you can and let us talk. Let us know how we can help you. Let us know how we can engage. So if you have any, and I'm seeing that the conversation is going on even on the chart. Hanifa had a wonderful comment that she just put in there now. So let us all contribute this conversation. Jean, I see your hand up. Please, can you unmute? Jean, are you still available? I see your hand up. Maybe she's not available. So as I was saying, we all need to support.
She is available. I
You
think
see?
there should be, yes.
Oh, okay. All right. So
Good.
whenever she's ready, let her unmute so she can share her perspective with us. I'm glad that we're all talking about this, trying to see what we can do. So Jean is trying to unmute.
Can I chime in?
But yeah, sure.
I mean, I'm a guy here, but I mean, I think I, have
Oh,
some-
please, I'm glad, Matt. Please go ahead.
All right, let me give you a different perspective and alternative here from not just the male perspective, but also from an IT or technology perspective, and also from a human perspective. I heard some of the conversation while I was engaging in my laundry tonight, and we have to go back, to basically humanity, how it started. Humans, by nature, have been violent since the dawn of time. And this was back with the cave people days, caveman, cave women, I gotta be politically correct. And so we have a systemic problem back to the beginnings of humanity. And the problem with humans is we have not evolved far enough where our mouths and our words are the weapons and not the actual guns. And until society gets to a point, and they do it on Star Trek, so I know it's possible, where we put away the guns and we talk out our differences, humanity will never move forward. And that is not just the problems in this country, it's worldwide. And with the gun laws in this country are extremely behind. Nobody talks about this, not even politicians, but the biggest problem is this. The Constitution was written in 1776. George Washington was not worried about a drive-by with some guy wanting to put a cap in his ass. So that is the bigger issue here, is that the gun laws are 400 years old. They didn't have guns 400 years ago like they have now. And that to me is the problem. If the founding people of this country had guns with the technology that we have now, chances are the gun laws would either not be there or be dramatically different. And that's what has to change. And also we have to pull like in England, where we take away the guns from everybody and only certain people like the police have them. Because if the guns are not available, that eliminates part of that problem. The other side of the coin, which is what I heard people speaking about as well, is the mental health problem is a crisis in this country. And the problem is society has downplayed mental health, to a level where diabetes and cancer take onus, but yet mental health is, downplayed or basically shamed upon because it doesn't have the same onus as, those, types of disease. So until society can get over the stigma of mental health, humanity cannot move forward. Now, from the technological side, because I do for a living, and that's why this thing is streaming on StreamYard, is that we are all glued to our devices. And unfortunately, our phones and our tablets and everything else is a vice, to connect with the outside world. And it's almost like a drug where people are addicted to the devices. And I know I do it for a living. But we also have to know that we have to put it down and we have to connect as humans. And that's where families are failing. That's where people and kids and adults are not connecting. So I see parents on their phones and there's other kids on the phone. And so the parents are not setting the example to put your device down, then how could the kids learn what to do? The problem is also this: social media has been a great tool. It's also been a detriment to society, where people can learn about new ideas. The problem is it's not always positive, it can be negative. The other side of the coin is people that follow. So people see a trend like on TikTok, that all these things that kids are doing, they're gonna go follow it because that's what kids do. Or girls that see other girls doing something else, they're gonna follow that because the other girls are doing it. So there's sociological or social, impacts there that are also cause the problem. So we have to, just as much as there's a health crisis in this country, we have to identify the device crisis in this country, where we're over technology burdened, and we have to disconnect every now and then for our own mental well-being. And certain criteria have to be there, where you just gotta take a mental break or take a device break, and you go back to humanity. As much as I love it being a nerd, and I'm one step away from a pocket protector, even I know that you have to take a mental break and you have to interact with humans, because no device can substitute the interaction and the emotional, mental, and spiritual and kinetic energy you get with another human. Technology hasn't gotten that far yet. I'm glad it hasn't. So all those different areas have to be addressed for us to move forward. I mean, also with the breastfeeding thing, I'll never do it. I'll have to live vicariously through you guys. But my sister-in-law breastfed my nephew. She had a feeding pump that she would sit there and pump the milk out of her breast, to sit there and do that. And that's how my nephew got breastfed. He's a year and a half old. So I understand the importance of that. I feel very badly for all the new mothers who are having this baby formula crisis, where they can't get baby formula. I think Biden finally intervened, got his shit together, and finally said, okay, we're gonna sit there and give you baby formula because it's so critical, especially at that age, where if you can't breastfeed for whatever reason, babies have food to be able to live on. So, and with the cost of living, the cost of inflation, and the cost of gas, all that's exasperated, where it's hard to get, certain supplies and even breast milk. So that's just kind of my 2 cents on what's going on with your group and what's going on in terms of the conversation and the topic. So,
yeah, Matt, thank you so much for bringing the male perspective, and really that's what I encourage our men to do, to join us, share their perspective, because we are different. We process messages, we process everything differently. We see life from a different perspective, and it's always good to share. When you talked about the mental health, you're absolutely right. And what is going on with mental health, which really makes me mad, is the professionals, medical professionals. We all know that when we talk about diabetes, high blood pressure, other cancers, and stuff that we need to pay attention, and we play down on mental health, it's so funny and it's ironic, because mental health will lead to people eating the wrong thing and developing high blood pressure, and then people acting the wrong way and doing what they shouldn't be doing that might lead them into having diabetes, including cancer. So I'm like, why would you really not pay attention to mental health? Because when someone is not in their right mind, they are not in control. They are not responsible, honestly. So why are we not paying attention to what is very important in our lives, so that people can act and behave like they should, so that we don't have all these problems we're dealing with every day? The baby.
And that's why the shootings occurred, because the mental health was never addressed.
Yes.
And they're blaming the shooters. The problem is they're not saying these people needed mental health and they should not have access to guns. So the bigger issues are there. And I know, I went to Stoneman Douglas. I live in South Florida. I was there for 6 months. So it hits very close to home to me, because I was 15 minutes away when that school shooting took place. So until the mental health is addressed on every other level of every other disease, and we stop, putting out guns, or we ban them, then the shootings in this country are going to keep occurring, and people are crying, to change unless the lawmakers make dramatic changes and put the Constitution 40 years forward. Then this is unfortunately going to happen all over again.
Yeah, and that's really scary. Thank you so much. That's really you hit the nail on the head. And this is scary because, like you said, if this is not taken care of, and I'm not even sure that people are paying attention, especially the lawmakers, because they are the ones who should actually be listening and doing stuff that they need to do to reverse this whole situation. If they don't do it, we're gonna be really fighting a lost battle, and we are not gonna blame an 18-year-old. I'm telling you, their brain is still in that developmental stage where they cannot even identify who they are. They're still figuring it out. And now we're expecting them to really know everything, when it's our responsibility to help, and we did nothing about it. The baby formula crisis we're having in this country right now is part of the problem. So when you're talking about supporting a woman to make sure that she gets pregnancy, that pathway in a healthy way, plan to support her to either pump her milk or breastfeed her baby directly, which is very economical. It is more fun. It is healthier. It helps the family, the connection. We're not doing it. We're not interested. What we're interested is in making money by promoting all these industries that we know that at the blow of any catastrophe, we're in trouble, we're in sync. And we know that we can easily have breastfeeding banks, milk banks. It is possible. It has been done all through the ages. It still can be done. What is right now going on in California is you see some women who are now going to donate milk. They're also donating the milk to other babies, like directly. This is how human beings have done it all through the ages. The society where we live in now is scary for me. I don't know about anybody else. People are no longer caring about one another. It's all full of selfishness, how I can make the most money, how I can be the best. So why would we even, if there's a baby that needs formula for some reason, why should we lack that? Because any minute a baby misses meal counts. If a woman is breastfeeding, it's different. She doesn't have to worry about that. And that is the reason we are really promoting this. So my plea is asking everyone, please get involved, get engaged in your community, local community, family. Let's talk about this. Let's talk about how we can help our kids grow in the right direction. We are doing this for us. We're not doing it for them. I'm just telling you, because the more they destroy the world, the impact is in all of us. So, Jean, do you have something to say? I think you're back now.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I had to actually log back in because I don't know, I wasn't able to unmute, but hello to everybody.
Okay.
And I absolutely love this platform because just to start with, I loved also what Hannah said about breastfeeding, because I actually, in my case, I wasn't able to breastfeed because I was diagnosed with cancer, lymphoma. So after my first cancer, they told me I wouldn't be able to have children, those 1%, but I had twins, very excited. And so initially when I was excited about, having my children, and what a miracle that was, but not being able to breastfeed, because a lot of people do say breastfeeding is definitely better for young children, but I also heard what Auntie Bridget said, also to say it's very important, and when children are young, to start early to try and mold them. So I totally agree with that. Like for me, myself, I'm a single mom, 2-time cancer survivor, and a double amputee, you know. But I try very hard to instill in my twins to say, be respectful, do the right thing, follow God's word. But I also hear what everyone is saying, now with technology, internet, and all these games, it's like you have to really watch these children because they're going there and they have all these games and shootings and stuff like that. And I'm just thinking, what world are we in right now? You're seeing look at these young children dead, that didn't even have a chance to see life, That's why I just say it's so saddening what, not just in the United States, in Africa, and it just saddens me. It's like there's so many bad things that we're going through with the pandemic, with the war and everything, and then somebody to just go and innocent children, and so yeah, I just wanted to chime in on that. And definitely I heard everybody's point and everybody was just absolutely amazing.
Yeah, thank you so much, Jean, for sharing a little bit of your life with us. I really appreciate it. And you and I have, chatted a little bit, and I'm going to get you involved in this platform, because people like you have really challenged our world. People like you have really said, yes, I am mom. Yes, I have challenges, but it's not going to stop me from living life. So I need you to come into our platform and share more in the future about what you're doing, because people like you are really that challenge. You are really my best moms. You have really carried this. You're welcome. You've carried this responsibility proudly to say, yes, this is who I am, but guess what? I'm not going to give up. So I am so happy that you're here and that you're still waxing strong. And I'm going to also connect you with Diva. Diva is one of our powerful women that have challenges, but that has not stopped her. So we're going to connect and move this world forward. We got to do it. I don't care what anybody says. Keeping quiet is not an option. Not saying anything is not an option. It's not going to help anybody. And we are not helping anybody, but we are all going to do this collectively. I see Emmanuel, his hand is up. Please, can you unmute and share? Thank you, Jean.
Yeah,
thank you so much.
Thank you so very much. I've heard everyone. Can you all hear me?
Yes.
All right. Thank you so much, Zipe. Thank you for everyone that logged on tonight, and thank you for such a powerful expose on breast milk, the benefits health-wise to the baby and to the mother. Such an excellent topic. It's just to contribute to what you guys started saying about the gun shooting and all those things. My dear people online, there's something that we say: when a country begins to walk away from God, things begin to happen. We are living in it, that day we are told we are living in the last days. Because I can hear people saying, oh man, people are wicked, people are selfish. These are the things that we are told in the scripture that will happen. And that is exactly what's going on. If we all look back to this great country we are all in, it was founded on God. The founders called God. Now we are caught up in our humanism. We can do anything. We are separating the church from religion and all those things. When we all look back, we remember that we received basic training, moral training, but now it's nowhere to be found. Everywhere is internet. People are trying to there is an attack on families, because we know that the foundation of raising up a child is from home. And right now, we have an attack on families. There's an assault on families. Whether it's a single mom or husband and wife, there's an attack. And that is why we can all talk about what we want to talk about, mental issues and all that. These are spiritual things. The world we live in is spiritual. Psychiatric problem is the disease of the mind. And the mind, we know what can affect the mind is very spiritual. Until we get back to the basics. When a nation moves away from their creator and begin to worship, creations themselves, this is what we get. It's all over the world, but it's worse in America because the whole part of the world look up to America. When America coughs, it affects the whole world. So what is going on in our country today is just nothing but the lack of God. We have taken God away from our system, and we just cannot continue that way. So these are things I've talked about, and the only way we can, Scripture of God is saying, if my people who are called by my name should turn away from their wickedness and look up to God and call him, he will heal the land. And I pray that every one of us will get back to the basics, looking up to our Creator and telling God that we need him, because this is the word of God. The world we live in is not our world. Somebody created it. So thank you all so very much. I'm sorry that this came up almost when your time is up. I appreciate everyone that has talked tonight. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful evening.
Thank you so much, Emmanuel. Thank you, everyone, for your contribution. This is really powerful. And all I'm pleading to all of us is like, let's all look into what will really put us together, bind us in love, encourage, in respect for one another, and help us to take care of our families. It is a responsibility. Let us love one another. Let's remember that somebody put us here, and that is God, or whatever anybody wants to call it, that we respect one another, know that we're being created and put in here to love. Out of love, we can do everything. Out of love, we can all grow, mature, and inherit the earth. When we turn against love, we turn against ourselves, and this is what we get. So thank you so much. I don't know, Sister Bridget, do you have something to add?
Sure. I just wanted to say we cannot run away from the media. If we are going to talk to people, it's a suggestion. Would there be a way of reaching out to the teens? We can go, somebody perhaps who has a child, you can go on TikTok and send this message that we have.
Right.
So it will reach out. Because just here, we talk and it's gone. It's very difficult sometimes to get this message out.
Exactly.
On TikTok, they are just going to open. What do they mean? They will love it. Something will start working.
Yeah, that's true.
You can explore TikTok. That's great.
Yeah, that is true. And I'm calling on each one of us. Those of us who are really, really on, okay, I see Hanifa's hand up. Go ahead, Hanifa, you have something to say. This is really exciting and good for everybody. Go ahead, Hanifa.
Thank you so much, everyone, for your contribution. Yeah, and I also do appreciate that you're really targeting our children and the youths in this message. One thing I wanted to point out when Sister Bridget talked about TikTok is I've been looking at the Facebook algorithm lately. I think Matt would know what I'm talking about. Facebook screens and shares with you or brings you notification based on the things that you like or the things that you follow. So also if we can like and follow whenever we see these messages on Facebook, that means that each time they pop up, we will get notification that they have popped up. That's how I'm getting the notifications for this, because I'm not up to date with my email, but Facebook will send a notification on my Apple Watch, and I'm able to know that this session is going on live, and when I'm able to log in, then I am able to log in. So the algorithm also matters. So I have a feeling that also TikTok is like that. It pops up what our kids can watch based on what they are subscribed to, but I mean, it doesn't have to try it out.
Unfortunately, yes. And so all your information when you're searching is a gold mine. Keep in mind, we have to keep Mark Zuckerberg, rich off his ass. So when you sit there and you travel and you have certain, habits when you're web browsing or you're liking certain things, that algorithm or that code is being interpreted, and that's how they get more information about you based on your likes or dislikes. So yes, Facebook is quote unquote free, but nothing is free in life and everything comes at a price.
Yeah, yes. But what is also important is that we are engaging this conversation locally, also, as well as putting it, on Facebook or whatever outlet we have. There's Instagram going on, there's Facebook, there's Twitter, there's all kinds of email. So please, let's share this conversation. This is critical, and I'm glad that all of us have really chimed in to share how we feel. For me, this is a global concern that we are responsible here. Every one of us, that we are supposed to get out there, talk about it, and collaborate with any other person who is willing to do something about it. Everybody knows what the problem is. Right now, let's just get into solving it. For anybody that has any kind of suggestion to solution, I'm in. And so will all of us. So Hanifa, you have something else to add to that?
Sure. I wanted to talk about the technology.
Yes.
Our sister Bridget talked about the technology, Matt talked about the technology, and you also talked about how parents are busy, and I commented that that's how it is systematically structured in a way that, I'll give an example. I'm a single mom, just like Sister Jean here. Being a single mom in America, trying to keep up with standards for your children to have opportunities to be children is really so challenging in the face of technology. Because I can't even imagine myself being a kid in this time where they have access to gadgets, access to information, whether good or bad, and how I would be able to screen and discern what I'm listening to, what I process, what I take in, what I ignore, because people who are there injecting propaganda information in our kids do not sleep. They don't slumber. So as parents, we really have to be extra vigilant with our kids. And at the same time, we have to work. So it's a really catch-22 where you're trying to work so hard. If you're a single parent, you're working double jobs to keep up with two-parent households who have same kids of the same age as your kid, going to the same schools.
Can I give you a suggestion? And this still goes for all the parents out there, not just the ones. You have parental controls on your kids' devices. Apple with iPhone has parental control. Android and Google has parental control. The other thing also that I tell parents is you want to sit there and you gotta sit there and patrol and police your devices. You should know any passwords that your kids put on different devices. That you should know passwords for any accounts that they make. And on occasion, you should screen your kids and say, "Look, I want your phone. I want to see what you're doing." Don't warn them, because you don't know what they're looking at. And so, as we live in an information age that is unprecedented in the span of humanity. And so you have to patrol them, and you have to periodically check to see what they're doing and what they're not doing. That's something I specialize in, is making sure your kids can look at the content they're supposed to look at based on the age and based on the appropriation, and things are blocked based on what they should not be exposed to.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Matt.
Thank you so much. Yes, thank you so much, Matt, for that input. And really, we can do more. And I know that our time is way up, but this is an interesting topic, and it concerns all of us. Like I said, this conversation, we can keep it going. Please, you have our address, contact. Please send us information, send us questions, comments, resources that you feel that will really enable us to continue this conversation to the next level. It is very critical. It is very important for all of us at this time and an age. And with summer just starting, But we just want to make sure that we're on top of things. That's all I would like to say here. And thank you all for coming. I really appreciate your time and contributions and questions. Next week, we do this every week at 8 p.m. Eastern. I'm looking forward to all of us coming here and sharing. We will have someone from outside the United States talking to us. Lydia is her name. This is a young woman who has also contributed a lot in not only supporting her own family, but supporting other children. So you want to come next week prepared to hear from Lydia from Kenya, and listen to her story and share with her your own perspective about raising kids. So thank you all and have a wonderful rest of your week and a good night. Thank you.
Thank you, Zita.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Let's all love
Bye-bye.
God and love people.
Yes. Yes. Thank you,
so
Hannah.
much.
Wonderful. I love you, Zita.
I love you too, Hannah. Thanks for
Thank you,
coming.
Sister Zita.
We
Thank
need
you, dear. Thank you.
you.